Probably a week or so before the inquest, we got a call from the coroner's office that we should go and have a look. It was no longer about the homeopath, it was about Pete and his role in here. It became very evident to me that at that point, a week before, that he was in trouble.
I didn't even have a lawyer until 10 days before. So I'm either a very stupid criminal or a trusting person.
The inquest into Penelope's death was scheduled for June 2010. The opening address was quite strong. It raised a lot of issues about the role that Dr. Dingle had played in his wife's treatment, as well as raising some of the accusations about Francine Scrayen's role in her treatment as well.
We were all waiting to see Francine. I was a bit shocked. She was different to what I thought she would look like.
During questioning, Francine Scrayen denied ever telling Penelope that she was treating her cancer with homeopathy. The coroner seemed exasperated with Francine Scrayen's answers, that she wasn't able to properly explain what had happened during those months, and he certainly, in his findings, found that she wasn't a witness of truth, so he didn't believe what she had to say.
Pen had her day, and that the contents of the diaries were able to state the truth of what happened. And Francine was caught in that, very much so.
October 30, 2003. It was an exclusive cult of three, with the alternative practitioner controlling every move. Pete set up as gatekeeper so I would not be unsettled, set back by stressed, negative or questioning vibrations.
And the coroner actually found those diaries to be a true and unadulterated or untampered with account of what had happened.
Pen's diaries were very damning, especially that letter that Penelope wrote to Francine.
Dear Francine, you said a psychic said you would treat a patient and cure them of cancer. You told me I was this patient and that this was my special role. You also said Peter would be instrumental in discovering some kind of cancer cure. I believed you when you told me you could cure me. I believed you when you told me I was a medical miracle.
The coroner found that Francine Scrayen was not a competent health professional. He found that Francine Scrayen had in fact advised Penelope Dingle against having the operation in October 2003, and that was both outrageous and dangerous. Peter Dingle seemed very nervous when he was giving evidence. It appeared that he had come in quite unprepared. The questioning was quite strong from the coroner. He was questioned about the role he played.
They tried to paint me as the person who introduced Pen to a diet, cleanses, alternative medicine, homeopathy. Everyone, including the coroner, was trying to say, you did this to Pen, you led her astray. The coroner also kept implicating that I was trying to imply I was a medical doctor. I have never, ever. I'm not a medical doctor. I've never said I was. I'm proud that I have a PhD. A PhD is a higher qualification, and it's research-based. The doctors report on what research is done by people like me. It was so one-sided.
The sense I had was that Pete was protecting himself in the stand. And fair enough, you know, a big reputation that he was trying to protect. But I think it would have been really, really hard for Pete to have acknowledged what really happened, because it's a bit like the whole edifice would have to come down.
The coroner accepted that Dr. Dingle was obviously very distressed in the lead up to the operation, but he rejected his extensive claims of memory loss. He went on to say that it did appear that Dr. Dingle had embarked on treating Penelope using components of his Dingle deal, which included goal setting, diet, and positive thinking. Ultimately, he found that Peter Dingle was a victim of his own misinformation.
Peter accompanied Penelope to 2 doctors, 2 GPs. Both doctors have been referred to the medical board for further investigation because both of them offered alternatives to surgery when in fact there was no alternative to surgery. Really, Penelope's choice was have surgery or die a painful death.
Penelope Dingle's friend Jennifer Kornberger gave evidence of the conversation that she claimed to have had with Penelope, that they had made a pact that when they ultimately cured her cancer, that they would then write a book about it and all become famous.
It was an emotional Peter Dingle who left the coroner's court with his present wife.
Bloody hell! In the coroner's court, there are no rules of evidence. So when somebody said that somebody said, it was evidence.
Please wait for all the evidence to come out before you crucify me, will you?
I had no recourse whatsoever. It became the front page of the media the next day. Maximum coverage. Dr. Dingle was going to write a book at the expense of the death of his wife.
Get out of here, will you? Please.
That one thing had destroyed my reputation overnight, instantly. Within a couple of days, I had letters saying, "Wife killer. How dare you?"
Did you kill your wife?
No, I didn't kill my wife. I love my wife absolutely.
The coroner saw Jennifer as being a reliable and a truthful witness. But there were no actual writings in Penelope's diary that referred to a book as such.
The coroner found no evidence of a pact. He speculated that there may have been a conversation to that effect, but no concluded plan.
It would have been great, I think, if he had found that there was sufficient evidence for Francine Scrayen to be prosecuted. However, it has thrown light onto what sort of regulation there should be for complementary therapies and how do people find redress. Francine's still registered and practising at this point.
Tony's written to Arrow, which is the Australian Register of Homeopaths, but they don't have any real power to discipline practitioners. It's not like being deregistered as a doctor.
So that letter was sent on the 16th of August. We are, in fact, still waiting for a result from them.
I feel it's just really sad that this one practitioner, what she has done has discredited a lot of people who would never have practised in that way.
What amazes me is why did this have to be dragged through a coroner's court? The sisters never came and talked about it with me. I would have told them how much regret, how much I blame myself, how stupid I was, how could I? The aftermath of the Coronial Inquest was devastating. It has literally destroyed my career. From two talks a week, free talks I was doing to community groups, to zero. To paid talks I was doing every week, to zero. My book sales, zero. Working with the public, all the media, dropped to zero. 4 or 5 months after the Coronial Inquest, I was one of a large number of people offered a redundancy package at Murdoch University, and I decided to leave.
Once mud has been flung, some of it always sticks, and I think that's going to be hard for him. I hope that he will be able to build up his reputation again. I think his aim has always been to assist people. I think his aim's always been good. I'm hoping that people remember that for him.
I don't wish him ill, that's for sure. You know, I wish him the best. You know, it was pretty horrible for him too. So I think, you know, I've got to go with that sort of sense of compassion I have around everyone who was part of that horrible journey.
Yeah, if Penelope knew now what had happened, I think she would be horrified.
She would have been devastated because she just really loved him. There was no doubt that she didn't love him. Right to the end, she loved him.
Beautiful. There is still such a depth of sadness over what happened to Penelope because it was simply so unnecessary.
But this is the one that we thought might go with one of her stories.
You know, everyone says when someone in the family dies how special they were. But she was a particularly special woman. She was really compassionate, she was caring, she was joy-filled. And it's a big loss. It's a big loss to us and it's a big loss to society, I reckon, that someone like Penelope didn't live on and fulfil her potential.
Yes, that's a very interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's terrific.
What I really look forward to is getting her book together, getting her poetry together, getting her stories together and putting that out and say, look, here she is. You know, this is this beautiful woman, look what she's written.
You know this poem? My joy at finding you is the joy of birds and apples, feathers.
That will be then closure for me, to have that book out there. That's the next thing and the most exciting thing. Yeah.
When I'm gone, don't bury me. I will not lie under this town. I will not lie where I can't see.